Hi guys, my name is Reen Jado, and this is Ireen's Voice. Today we're interviewing Representative Daly of the Democratic Party to talk about issues related to students. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy. Hi guys, today we're here with Representative Daly of the Florida House of Representatives to talk about issues related to students. So let's get started. Hello, Representative Daly. Thank you for your time.
Of course. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay. So the first question I want to ask you about is one that I think is extremely important to students
Mhm.
all across America: gun violence. The news of school shootings sends a
Mhm.
wave of fear throughout students. So, what do you think we need to do about this issue?
Yeah, look, I think it is probably one of the most, if not the most important issues facing our country. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a graduate of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. I was there the day of the shooting, probably within about 30 minutes. I was on the city commission in Coral Springs at the time. And you never think when you run for local office that you think you run for local office to fix potholes and stop signs and things like that. You don't think you're gonna hug a member of your community who just lost their child. So I think it's a big issue. I think that we should, and I have filed bills to try and put reasonable measures in place to make it difficult for someone who should not have a firearm to get a firearm. Stepping further than that, well, a lot of the legislation that I have worked on in Tallahassee and continue to work on in Tallahassee has been at trying to prevent a tragedy like the one at my alma mater. So, as an example, I ran my first session, Alyssa's Law. It's named after Alyssa Aladeth, who was one of the victims of the shooting. And what it does is put a panic alarm in every school in the state. Provided some funding to go ahead and try and do that as well. And so, look, we certainly have more to do, but I think that there has not been an appetite in Tallahassee, at least as it relates to the gun-related issues, to really clamp down and do anything of significance in that arena. As a matter of fact, they're trying to go backwards, and they have filed bills that would lower the age to purchase a long gun, which was something we changed in the wake of the shooting to begin with. So we're not necessarily headed in the right direction in Florida, and we need to do a lot more.
I understand. Now, the next issue I want to ask you about is the teacher shortage.
Mhm.
According to the Florida Education Association, there are currently 10,000 public vacancies. So, what do you think we need to do to solve this?
Yeah, it's a big problem. I don't know if you know this, but about 60% of our teachers on a yearly basis that come into the state of Florida or that start teaching in the state of Florida have come from out of state. So, one, I think we need to look at why that's happening. We need to look at what are we doing to incentivize students here in Florida to go get their teaching degree and to want to be a classroom teacher. I also think we need to find ways to one respect teachers, right, and the work that they do, pay them more, pay them a fair wage for what they're doing. When you really think about it, look, I'm a lawyer, I'm a prosecutor. I help keep our community safe. It's a very important job, but teachers are quite literally teaching the next generation of our society, right? And I don't know that we always show them the respect that they deserve. So I think that there are ways to incentivize um, teachers, to appreciate teachers, and to help kind of grow the career field. It's imperative, as you already mentioned.
Understood. Now, the next question I want to ask you about is House Bill 3. In
Mhm.
2024, the Florida House of Representatives passed this bill, and it stated you needed to be at least 14 years of age to use social media apps like
Mhm.
Instagram and TikTok. I know of
Mhm.
kids in my own school who are currently using these services. So,
Mhm.
do you support this bill? And if so,
Mhm.
do you plan on enforcing it?
Yeah. So I will tell you, I supported the bill when it came up. I have generally been supportive. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's the perfect solution. And I think you get at the issue. I think enforcement is somewhat of an issue because it's really imperative on the social media companies themselves and on parents to make sure that certain individuals aren't using social media. I think social media has been an incredible tool, right? World changing, universe changing, right? But I do think that on the other side of that coin, the flip side of that coin, it has been harmful and detrimental to our society. And so, I think there's something to be said for, the old adage, everything in moderation, right? You have people, and particularly young people, and look, I'm also guilty of it from time to time, who are just doom scrolling for hours and hours and hours, and it's not healthy, right? And we're seeing that, and it's certainly not healthy when you are going through school, when your brain is still developing, when you're still growing. It's had a lot of implications. So I do think it's an important issue. I don't love every single aspect of that bill, but I do think it's been a step in the right direction.
I understand. Now, the next question I want to ask you about is in the United States, literacy rates have been free falling.
Mhm.
In fact, the National Assessment of Education revealed in a new study that Florida used to place 21st for reading test scores, but now has fell to 43rd. What do you think we
Mhm.
need to do to solve this issue?
Yeah, it's a big problem, and it's a big problem, particularly here in Florida. And I don't want to, I don't want to get too political, but there are certain things that we have been spending a lot of time on in Tallahassee as the state legislature, and I think our priorities are a little out of whack, right? Rather than focusing on literacy rates, rather than focusing on ways to fix that situation, we're banning certain books from libraries, right? We are taking individuals' abilities, rights, First Amendment rights, particularly in the classroom, away, versus looking at an issue like that. That's what a legislature is supposed to do, right? We're supposed to look at that kind of information and say, hey, this is not acceptable. How do we fix it? And we don't fix it by banning books,
Yeah,
right? And so, I think we are kind of the same that I said earlier on the gun related issue. I think we're a little backwards. I think we are not focused on the right priorities. So my hope is that my colleagues will finally see the light, because that's unacceptable. And we like to talk about, if you talk to some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, they'll say, "Oh, we have a great education system. We have the top of the top of the line, top of the," but the facts don't match that, right? That one statistic doesn't match that. So we certainly have a lot more work to do.
yeah, I understand. Now, what advice would you give to students interested in public service?
Yeah. So I started very young in public service. I know I don't look it now, but when I started, I was, let's see, 18 years old. I was a freshman at Florida State University. Hold on one second for me. Whoa, I'm dropping my camera here. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So when I started my career in public service, I was 19 years old. I started as an intern and had the opportunity to be a legislative aide, and then I ended up running for local office. I was on the city commission, and then now in the state house. And so, what I would say to somebody that's interested in getting involved in politics is to do it. Right, is to go and knock on doors and meet your city commissioner, meet your mayor, meet your state representative, meet your state senator. Reach out. Right, we're all just people.
Yeah.
Our titles don't make us special. So if you identify, and I always say this when I speak with students, if you identify something in the community that you want to change, go talk to those people. Go talk to those people that can change that issue, that can help make the community a better place. If you want, go and reach out and work on somebody's campaign. Right? I'm never going to forget the people that came out and knocked on doors with me or handed out literature. Right? So you're building relationships, and then that may lead to other opportunities to work in that person's office, to be an intern, to be a full-time legislative aide or something like that, just like I had that opportunity. So what I would say is, if you want to get involved in politics, do it. Just step up and do it. Don't let your age is but a number, right? It's not going to be a barrier. It's how much you want to work, how much time and effort you want to put in, how passionate you are about helping your community.
I understand. Now, if you had never pursued a life in politics, what different career would you have tried?
So when I was younger, I thought I wanted to be a dolphin trainer just because I thought it was really cool to get to like hang out with dolphins all day. But I ended up going to law school and got into politics. So I don't get to swim with any dolphins, but I do think I get to make a difference, which is pretty cool too.
Yeah. Um, if it is fine, I would like to ask one more question.
Sure.
So, what currently March Madness has been going on, and we have a
Mhm.
Florida team in the Final Four. So,
Yeah.
who are you supporting?
So I am a very proud Florida State Seminole.
Mhm.
But because we have a Florida team in the Final Four, I will be cheering for the Gators. Just don't tell my Seminole friends.
Okay. Well, that is the end of this interview. Thank you for your time, Representative Daly.
Of course, anytime. This is wonderful. I really appreciate you doing this.
Okay. And that's the end of the interview, guys. Thank you for watching. Also, if you like the interview, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure to comment down below. Thank you.